Loud voice. All right. So just landing deeply in your body now. Just allowing the full field of experience to be exactly as it is. Whatever noises or phenomena may appear, just allowing that to arise and pass away. And if you feel called to do so, placing your hand over your heart, both hands over your heart. And just breathing into the heart space. Just continuing to breathe into the heart space. And just tuning into your heart's purest desire, your heart's purest resonance, your highest excitement, whatever comes up for you in relation to that. Maybe it's an image, maybe it's a feeling, maybe it's a vision. And whatever that is, just feeling it moving closer to you. Feeling yourself sort of being transported into that. Feeling your very cells, your very DNA electrifying with the energy of that. Feeling yourself being literally recalibrated, rewired, reformatted, feeling your physical vessel reshaping itself. To become the formulation that lives in that vision, that image, that feeling, that purest heart resonance. And just feeling what, if anything, what, if anything, that brings up for you? Are there anything, are there any challenging textures or emotions or thoughts or feelings that that brings up for you? What in your system knows that it will need to be released or dissolved or transmuted for you to come into that full frequency of your purest heart vision? And just feeling whatever that might be, whatever comes up, and just welcoming it, thanking it, letting it be what it is, just thanking it for its service, thanking it for being part of your paradigm for so long, and just holding it in the light of neutral loving awareness, the soft fire of neutral loving space, and just feeling how just that just that neutral loving spaciousness, just holding it in that space, that's all you really need to do to release or transmute whatever is arising. And even that you don't need to do per se, because it's already being done. It already is the case that everything is held in a field of neutral loving awareness. Neutral loving awareness is what everything is made of. Everything, the entire world, is appearing in and as neutral loving awareness. Neutral loving awareness, neutral loving intelligence, naked loving God intelligence. That is what this is. That is what is being you, being the entire world. Just feeling and knowing that you are that, tuning into that subtle level of your beingness, where everything is loved, everything is accepted, the moment it appears. And prior to that, there isn't even a question of non-acceptance or non-love. There's nothing that has to be done for it to be accepted or loved. Everything just is loved and accepted by that level of your being. automatically, because that's what it is. It's like sunlight, it's like the sun. It just indiscriminately radiates love upon everything, indiscriminately radiates light upon everything. Your being is like that, like the sun, except infinity times more radiant, more powerful, more loving. Our sun is entirely made of the sun of your being, your love, your heart. Oof. Just breathing that in, a couple more deep breaths, letting out a couple more sighs. As you just plant that seed of remembrance in your heart, seed of remembering, knowing, trusting that you are neutral, loving awareness. You are pure, loving intelligence. That's what everything is made of. Everything is already held in that. You can tune into that anytime. You can be that neutral, loving awareness. And you can know that neutral, loving awareness is the final medicine which heals and harmonizes all things, returns all things to their natural state. Thank you, God, for allowing this session to occur. May it serve the highest for all of us here and all beings. Amen. Namaste. So feel free as you slowly come back now, slowly coming back at your own pace into a space for receptivity of a slightly different kind. Feel free to turn your cameras on so that we can see you, get a sense of tribe here, see everybody's beautiful faces. Hello, hello. So nice to see smiling faces. How beautiful. uh, that was pretty funny. This technician came here to fix our hot water, like right as I started that meditation, and it's just like a little joke from the universe testing my equanimity. I'm trying to Portuguese guy. I'm trying to tell him like I'm on a call. What do you need from me? Anyway. Feel free to drop a couple words in the chat box. Just let us know how you're feeling, where you're at, how you feel after that meditation, or just how you feel in general. And I get a pulse of the room here. Feeling great. Feeling light. Will also be no video today, Trevor says. That's cool. Charged, happy to be alive, feeling super light, feeling energetic and calm, presence and gratitude, uplifted, loved, open heart, reflective, connected to source. Thank you. Feeling connected to my heart and you beautiful souls. Alive, connected. Beautiful. Sound. Thank you, Jordan. I was reminded of being a little girl playing in the sunshine. Oh, wow. That's beautiful. Thank you, Kana, for sharing that. Clear. Lovely. All right. We'll turn off the chat for now. And so today's topic, as you may have seen, which I'm going to talk about, is holding space for yourself. So I'm excited to talk about this and connect this to last week's theme, last week's discussion. Can everyone hear me okay? Could have asked that earlier. Coming through good. Cool. Beautiful. All right. Yeah, I'm feeling a bit soft today, a bit tender. Kind of been through an interesting process the last few days of moving to a new country. We're now on the islands of the Azores in the middle of the Atlantic. So it was, yeah, some interesting travel experiences and just acclimating now. And yeah, had some interesting stuff coming up in the days before leaving, which I'll share more about in a little bit. But yeah, I just wanted to share that I'm feeling a bit soft, a bit tender, and yeah, just kind of slow, sloth-like, and just allowing that. So first things first, got my handy dandy notes again here. Wrote out some transmissions for everybody. So similar to last time, I just want to make this foundational note that this now is God. This now is absolute reality. What else would it be? What else would have the power to be spontaneously generating this gnarly, exquisite, strange, wonderful, beautiful, odd appearance that is appearing right here? This now is God, absolute reality, naked, loving intelligence, the great perfection. You can ask things like, how's it happening? How's it happening? What's it made of? What's going to happen next? Just as you go about your day-to-day life, you can ask questions like this to kind of snap you out of your default mode of perception, your default mode of assuming that you actually know what's going on here. So then you can drop into the wonderment, the startlement, the astonishment, the non-knowingness, the whoa, what the heck is going on here? I seem to be some kind of wavy creature, or at least there's a wavy creature kind of appearing along with the rest of this field of experience here. That's quite astounding. I don't really know, oh, what's that made of? How's that happening? You can just kind of get playful. You can get curious with this, and asking questions like that can create openings where you can then start to connect to this in a fresh way. You can just snap out of that default mode and come into contact with just the naked, raw, unmediated, uninterpreted experience of it. So yeah, that's a good way to be with it, just to be with this nakedly, be with it as the indefinable, as the undefined. And then that's how it can start to reveal itself as it actually is, beyond the parameters of our maps, our interpretations of it, which are always, which are beautiful in their own right, but they're always extremely limiting, extremely reductive. So, yeah, we want to see this outside of our stories, see what this is, and realize, oh, this is actually what really is this? Seems to be a completely unspeakable, unsayable miracle. So, starting there once again, welcome to the great perfection. All is well. Nothing to do, no one to be, nowhere to go. So last time I spoke about, just to do a very brief recap, I touched upon how Earth, or at least many of the timelines of Earth, to me it seems like there are probably infinite earthly timelines going on. Earth, or at least many of Earth's timelines, seem to be shifting into a higher vibrational reality, seem to be ascending. There seem to be influxes of high frequency energy entering the sphere, a great flood, to use the Noah metaphor again, of high frequency energy, catalyzing a great purge as we release all the stuck energy that does not resonate at this frequency we're moving into. So that's happening now on Earth. There's this great purge of the old, and there's also many beings being activated to expand into the new, to expand into the remembrance of unconditional love, the remembrance of what we are outside of our stories, that we are this spontaneous, naked, loving intelligence that is just effortlessly doing itself in this moment. I don't know where these words are coming from. I'm not premeditating this. What is doing this? What is doing it? Just keep looking at that, keep asking, because that's how you discover that this moment is God, and God is doing it, and you are that, and it's all there is. So I touched on this earthly ascension last time, and I talked about the direct path to heaven on earth, which is the twofold process I discussed of releasing. Step one, release, clear, transmute the old. So last week we focused quite a bit on that, clearing out the old in the Telegram group. And then step two, feeling, being, imagining, going directly toward the new, going directly toward your pure heart resonance, following your highest excitement, following your highest joy, increasingly acting only on your highest joy, increasingly acting only on your pure heart resonance, your pure heart aliveness, gradually noticing more and more the subtle ways that you're not acting on that you're doing things that aren't that, and just gradually letting those go. Yeah, that's kind of the twofold process that I recommended integrating simultaneously in an ongoing way. Be letting go of the old, releasing what is no longer aligned, noticing where you're full of shit, per se, where you know in your soul that you're about love and you're about magic and you're about, whatever you're about, just feeling and knowing, feeling in your heart and soul what you're really about and what you say you're about. And then noticing where in your life you are doing things and saying things and leaking energy and subtly like lying to yourself and lying to others in a way that is not actually aligned with what you truly feel yourself to be and what you feel your deepest truth to be. Just gradually letting that stuff go, settling into that as a long-term ongoing process, basically a probably never-ending process of noticing subtler and subtler layers of stuff that's ready to fall away, stuff that's no longer aligned, stuff that you notice is subtly misaligned, that you can let go of as you just find ever more subtle ways to step more fully into full alignment with your soul. As you notice, you notice like, wow, I thought this was fully aligned at one point, but now I can even see and feel that there's even a another level of alignment knocking on my door, and actually I have to let this thing go that seemed like 90, that is like 99% aligned, so that I can find the 100% aligned thing, like, or the 99.9% aligned thing, etc., etc. So it just like both axes like keep going on forever. You can just keep kind of subtly purifying, releasing, yeah, the old and stepping into the new, stepping into the full alignment. So, kind of a weird position on this bed. This isn't where I expected to give this workshop. Went into the other room since the technician was being a bit noisy. Let's see if I can get situated here. All right, that's a little better. So yeah, by the way, I'm going to run through these kind of transmissions that I wrote down, and then hopefully we'll have some time for Q&A, some time for general sharing, and that sort of thing. So as you undertake this process of aligning with the new, especially as you go direct, the more you go directly toward it, the more you summon that full faith to really go directly toward your highest excitement. That's definitely going to trigger you. That's definitely going to bring up all of your old stuff, that all of your old patterns of energy that aren't aligned with what you're stepping into. So all your old wounds, fears, limiting beliefs, identities, ancestral programming, unresolved traumas, stuck energies, shadow patterns, old resentments, your pain body, your hidden ego structures, your subconscious assumptions and beliefs about yourself, all this type of stuff is going to increasingly come to the surface. And to simplify, you can really just say that all your old patterns of energy, because that's really what all those things that I just listed are. They're just old patterns of energy. All your legacy code, all your old patterns of energy are going to come up to the surface, into the light, to be seen, to be felt, to be held, to be dissolved, to be released, and or to be transmuted. So again, everything that is not aligned with the frequency you are moving into must be released or transmuted. Makes sense, right? It's just if we're stepping into an entirely different paradigm for ourselves that is going to cause our nervous system to open and relax on a much deeper level, and basically we're going to be recalibrated, rewired down to a cellular DNA level and activated in this new way, our system is basically going to reformat, restructure itself on every level, and everything that is still kind of vibrating, still aligned with that old paradigm, it all will come up to be shed or to be transmuted, because your entire system will be sort of recalibrated such that every aspect of you is vibrating at the frequency of what you're stepping into, the frequency of the new earth, the frequency of the new paradigm, the frequency of total soul alignment, heaven on earth, whatever you want to call it. And so really, when stuff comes up, it's actually a gift, even though it might not feel like it, right? It's not fun when, well, it can be fun if you get really good at holding space for it. If you get really playful with it, it can actually be interesting. It can actually be blissful, or at least like fascinating to work with whatever energies are coming up. There's like a couple stories about different Zen masters that I've heard, and one is asked like, "Oh, what do you do when fear comes up?" And he just says like, I agree. And like I just don't resist it at all. I just I just let it move through. I just let it do its thing. Or there's another one about like, I think Pema Chodron maybe tells a story about someone talking about depression, and her teacher Chogyam Trungpa or something just being like, "Oh yeah, I know that place. I know that energy too. Yeah, I know that very tender, very juicy, very tender energy." Like, it's just like, it's not if you get outside of the rigid story you tell yourself about these energies, they just become like interesting, juicy textures that need to come up to be seen, to move through the system, to be transmuted in the light. So it's a gift when stuff comes up, if you can just remember that. Remember what's coming is going. What is coming up to be released. So it's like, oh wow, what a gift, what an honor that this is coming up, so that I can hold it in the light, so that I can transmute this, so that my system can become a more cohesively well-oiled vehicle that can just vibrate completely in tune, in harmony with what I'm stepping into. Yeah. So it's a gift, if you can remember that, even though, you know, sometimes when we get blindsided by a sudden bout of, you know, massive anxiety or depression or fear or terror or shock, or, you know, it might not feel like that. And also be gentle with yourself. If it doesn't feel like a gift and it doesn't feel like fun, you know, that's okay too. It's all part of the process. So, one thing I wanted to touch on briefly is this framework that I first heard of from Benigno Massaro, which is like I think he calls it like day 1, day 2, day 3, or something like this. So day 1, and this framework basically plays out on micro and macro scales throughout life. So day 1 is basically the day of clarity and excitement about the new direction. It's the day when you get like super activated about the new earth, about your soul alignment, about, you know, we've all had these moments, the peak experience where you see it all so clearly and you're like, oh my God, this is it. Like, I know what I need to do. I know what I'm meant to do. I know I'm on this earth. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go directly toward this. Amazing. And, and day 2, which, you know, may or may not actually be the next day. It could be, but it might be, maybe you're in a period of clarity and excitement for 3 months. And then suddenly day 2 comes and it's like a month of boom, suddenly the pendulum swings in the opposite direction and you're getting tested. So day 2 is the day of the test, or the day of the trigger, where it's really like life or your own higher self, your God self, basically asking you, you know, how badly do you actually want this? So you get hit with some kind of series of tests, series of triggers. And this is very often where it's very useful to know how to hold space for yourself, to have practiced holding space for yourself, to just, because that's really often the day 2 content is basically what I just referred to. That's when all the old patterns of energy, that's when the pain body, that's when the shadow stuff that you hadn't been seeing, suddenly it all like rears its head. It comes to the surface and it's like, no, you're not actually going to do that, are you? No, that would be way too out there. That be practical. How's that going to work? You know, and it's just like, it's like a giant kind of swamp anaconda, like coming out of your subconscious and just like wrapping around you and be like, no, why don't you just come right back down here, buddy. Just come right back into the same old safe, comfortable paradigm. You know, that's one way that this can look. Day 2 could look like a lot of different things, but I think very often this is what day 2 looks like for a lot of us. It looks like our old programming, our legacy programming that served us very well, you know, in this lifetime. It developed, usually a lot of this stuff developed as protective mechanisms when we were children, when we got hurt in some way, we got traumatized in some way. So we developed all these patterns and all these beliefs and all these ways of being that allowed us to survive and allowed us to feel safe in this world. And then there just comes a time when, if we really want to break out of the chrysalis and spread our wings and be the gorgeous multidimensional new earth butterflies that we are, we have to, a lot of this stuff has to fall away like the cocoon. It has to be transmuted into new structures within ourselves that are in alignment with what we're stepping into, that vibrate at that frequency. So yeah, and then day 3, right? Day 3 is when it manifests, when the original vision, the original clarity, the original excitement actually comes through. So if you're able to hold space for yourself through day 2 and keep the faith is probably the number one thing, like at any time in life, just keeping the faith, trusting the process, really trusting like, okay, I completely trust this is the medicine I need right now. This is a gift that this is coming up right now. Even if it doesn't feel like it, it can be helpful to just say, thank you, God. Thank you, God, for this gift right now. I know it's a gift, even though I have a hard time seeing this right now. Thank you. Thank you for this medicine. And then just trust and move through and continue to, if the day 2 is really intense, you might have to get pulled down into a process where you're not really continuing to take steps toward your alignment. But in general, as soon as you're feeling up to it, just continue to take those steps, continue to follow that breadcrumb trail toward your highest excitement, toward what really lights you up. And, just say to your pain body, your old patterns that are coming up, like, I see you, thank you, I welcome you. I'm not going to believe you. I'm not going to be pulled back down because I have the faith. I keep the faith in what I saw, what I knew, what I felt when I was in that peak experience, when I was in that higher frequency space of clarity and excitement. I trust that. I trust that was telling me the truth, that everything is possible. And I know that you're trying to protect me right now, but I'm going to keep moving into everything is possible. I'm going to keep moving into expansion because I know in my heart, in my soul, that everything is possible. I know that I am infinite possibilities. So that's the day 1, day 2, day 3 framework. And yeah, I was going to mention that and I touched on this at the beginning, that I've hit a bit of a day 2 in recent days, due to whatever confluence of events around moving and a few other factors. I mean, I could tell a story about what the factors are, but in any case, there's challenging energies and old patterns arising. Kind of took the form of like a unexpected spike of anxiety, a spike, which yeah, it was like, I haven't had kind of an intense spike of anxiety for quite a while. So it was a bit surprising, like, oh, whoa, the mind's like really, really going out of control there. Really seems really fixated on some of these questions. Why is it so fixated on that? Like the question, some of the things the mind started to fixate on, things like, will there be enough? Specifically, specifically money was a big trigger around this. So will there be enough money? How am I going to make this work? I need a clear plan. Feeling like I have to do this alone. I can't ask for help. That was kind of a subtle like meta pattern I was noticing in myself that was feeding into like this feeling of, will there be enough, or how will I make this work? Was this kind of subtle underlying feeling of like, I have to figure this out myself. I've got to do this, and this is really like, we're so deeply conditioned by this kind of capitalist individualist paradigm that's really weird, and basically tells us from very early on, like, yeah, when you're 18, you're on your own. You're out of the nest. You got to make it work for yourself, buddy. You got to figure this out. Like, get your ass out there, make something of yourself, like, even if your parents didn't really take that attitude, I feel like it's just really deep in our culture. It's this really deep kind of every man for himself energy. And yeah, I was just reflecting on it and feeling like, wow, yeah, I've really been living that for the last like especially the last like 9 years or so, just really like, haven't really asked for help. In some areas of my life, I've asked for help, but when it comes to like financial matters, for example, like, very, very rarely, if I have asked for help, maybe once I asked for like a loan from my parents that I then repaid shortly after. So there's just actually like this pridefulness and this feeling of like, I would be ashamed to not be able to just like fend for myself or provide for myself. So it was a very interesting, like, it's been very interesting to look at this, this old energetic pattern that's coming up for me, or this kind of complex, this knot, this portion of my pain body. And also, even, once we got here to the Azores, it was like raining and cloudy, and I'm having doubts, like, is this actually the right place? Is this where I'm supposed to be? Why did I come here again? What, why am I in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean? What's going on here? I just want our home. I just want our home for Tanya, Leela, and I. Like, why is it so hard to find this? And just feeling like tightness in my chest. So these are some of the symptoms, right? Of like, so this is just one example, but these are types of symptoms you might have in kind of a day 2 type experience. And I had especially, like, maybe you guys are hearing Leela making some purgative sounds in the background there. She's got some very strange kind of primal screaming that she does, like, ah! Anyway, but yeah, that's like, I was just going to say that, especially I'd say for the last few weeks, the last couple months, for the most part, I've been flying really high. So that's also can often be like an indication that a day 2 is gonna drop in. If you've just been like, if you've really been like soaring and you just feel like, wow, nothing is ever gonna take me down again. I'm just like on it. This is crazy. I'm like going right toward it. Like, damn, I'm just electrified. I'm charged up. Yeah, that's about the time where pride cometh before a fall, and then suddenly you get knocked back down, and life is like, oh, guess he needs some humble pie, some humility medicine, and now's a good time to work through more of these unresolved pain body aspects. Yeah, and also I was seeing kind of a visualization. Sometimes I see this type of visualization of almost like a Gollum figure, like Gollum from Lord of the Rings, or like kind of like a Gollum, or kind of like I don't know, like a small child. It's like a cross between a Gollum and a small child, just kind of like fetal position, just kind of like, yeah, it's some kind of visualization of some of my deepest wounding, some of my deepest trauma, some of my deepest patterns. And so just seeing that coming up again, and just really like radiating love to that part of me that feels alone and abandoned and lost, and like I have to do it alone, and scared that there won't be enough, and I need to make this happen, and all this type of stuff. So on that note, I'm going to speak a little more then about how to hold space for yourself. These are some principles and ideas that I generally apply, and that I've been applying during this day 2 that I'm currently experiencing. So as I already touched on, faith might be the number one thing that I can recommend and always come back to. Again, just thank you, God. I trust that this is the exact medicine that I need right now. That's extremely powerful. And then kind of align with that, like assuming that I created this for myself, and whether or not, you don't even need to get into like the metaphysics of that. You can just, it's just useful to say, okay, it's just very, it's like very practical to approach everything in life as if you created it exactly that way for yourself, whether or not you believe that's true at some deeper level. I do think that's actually true on a quite deep, profound level myself. Assuming I created this for myself, why? What's the gift here? So that's really a powerful question to ask, right? It's just like, what's the gift here? What's the medicine here? And when you start looking for that, you always find it regardless of what's happening, you know. And maybe if something truly like torrential, truly catastrophic is happening, maybe it will be hard to see in the moment. Maybe you won't really see it till years later. And then maybe that's just a super deep test of faith where you just have to have faith, even though you can't see what the gift or the medicine is, or you can't imagine what it would possibly be. Um, but in my case right now, when I ask what's the gift, you know, well, these are, I guess what I wrote is a bit more general, but I think all these pretty much apply to my situation here. So what's the gift of this day two? So for one, healing. Like I said, what's coming is going. This stuff would not be being triggered in my system if it wasn't still there to some extent, if it wasn't still operative beneath the surface, if it didn't, you know, if there wasn't more to be healed, more to be transmuted. So it gives me an opportunity to heal some of these deeper aspects. Again, humility is a big one. I think suffering and pain and having these day two situations is very humbling. I think humility is extremely valuable in this human experience. So humility is a good one. Compassion is another gift. You know, pain, suffering, it just reconnects us to the reality that it's very heavy to be human for a lot of people a lot of the time. And so it reconnects you to that reality. So it's very good to open the heart. um Sharing is another one. Like, because I had this day two experience, I created this workshop exactly how it was part of what let me know, oh, actually, I think I'm supposed to do this second session around holding space for yourself, and actually like open up and vulnerably share that I'm experiencing, you know, some challenging textures, some challenging energies coming through, and, you know, not just gloss over that type of thing and pretend that I'm, you know, that I never experience any challenging textures or pain or suffering, or that I'm somehow beyond that. That felt like, you know, it was a cool opportunity to share that. Um, that I'm just another dude hanging out, dealing with all the human things. Um, and yeah, I also wrote down here, as far as what's the gift, I wrote down existential kink, which is like a term I heard. I can't remember where I first heard that, but I think this one's really interesting. The idea of the existential kink is that on some level we actually enjoy our suffering. On some level we actually enjoy our pain. There's kind of a weird, like, yeah, existential kinkiness, like a metaphysical masochism going on there, where actually it adds spice, it adds variety to life. Like, if we were just in these realms of eternal bliss and peace for all of eternity, you know, it'd probably feel fine, but, you know, eventually it might get a little boring, and you might be like, okay, let's like play a different type of game for a while. Let's add a little variety here. Let's, like, somebody please build me a haunted house. I need something else, actually, like, than eternal bliss and peace. I think I've had enough of that for now. And so, you know, then we come to a layer of the game like this one, a layer of the creation where there's all sorts of contrast. We get to experience like a massive spectrum of emotions, and actually it's emotions and, you know, physical feelings, physical pains, physical bliss. And so it's like a smorgasbord of ice cream flavors down here. Some of them are, yeah, like Birdie Bots, every flavored beans. You got like booger ice cream and shit ice cream and stuff. And you know, and actually we get a weird delight, a weird joy out of experiencing these different textures. Even, yeah, arguably even some of the most painful stuff. It's like it's a different experience. It's a different type of novelty. It's a different type of juiciness. So there's also the existential kink angle and gift, which is interesting to remember. It's also interesting to ask that in any type of suffering situation, like, is there an existential kink here? Like, am I actually secretly kind of enjoying this, even though I'm telling myself I'm a victim here? Am I actually kind of, did I create this because I kind of like this? Um, so anyway, there's that. The next piece, and this is one of the most fundamental. This is probably the most fundamental aspect of holding space for yourself in my experience in my life. Well, again, I guess faith. Faith is maybe the most fundamental, but then in addition, I would say just what I wrote is love it. And whatever it is, whatever's coming up, love it. Welcome it, thank it, hug it, embrace it, ask it what message or medicine it brings. Feel it and hold it in the light of neutral, loving awareness. Love is the final medicine that heals and harmonizes and returns all to its natural state. So I touched on this in the opening meditation, but yeah, I think that's really that's the ultimate trick, the ultimate key. If you can just actually feel like a tenderness for yourself and for whatever energies are coming up, and realize it's like some wounded piece of you, probably that was related to some childhood wound. And if you can just have that tenderness and just be like, oh, hey there, little buddy, like, haven't seen you in a while. Thanks for showing your face, like, welcome, yeah, like, come here, like, wow, it looks like you've been, neglected for a while. It looks like you're not feeling the best. Like, tell me about that. Like, what's going on? And it's not even necessarily a dialogue like that. That's just gives a sense of, like, just the tender, loving energy. If you can just hold yourself and whatever energies are arising in that tender, loving energy of just naked, loving awareness. That is what heals everything. That is the final medicine that heals everything. So um, yeah, and again, as I said in the opening meditation too, it's really profound the more deeply you can realize that everything is actually made of neutral, loving awareness. Neutral, loving awareness is a good synonym for God. God is neutral, loving awareness. Neutral in the sense that the loving awareness, the love does not discriminate between this or that. It's not that the love shines more powerfully upon Gandhi than it shines upon Hitler. No, it's just this neutral, loving awareness shines indiscriminately upon all of creation. Everything is just radiant. Everything is basking. Everything is receiving the full radiance, this full evenness of love, this full evenness of the heart of God, just shining like the sun upon upon all of us. So yeah, the more deeply you realize that, then you can just kind of go to the level of your beingness, that you can just know, for one, you can just know that everything is already loved and accepted the moment it appears. And that can kind of be an opening to help you go to that level and feel that there's a level of you that has already accepted and loved whatever is appearing. Even if these more surface conscious levels seem to be having a really hard time with it, just like go to the level where it's already accepted, it's already loved. A few more points here, and then we'll open things up. So let it be what it is. Whatever it is, let it be what it is. Everything in the universe is longing to be allowed to be what it is, to be seen as God sees it, because God just allows it all to be exactly what it is at all times, with no judgment whatsoever. So the more that you can just let it be what it is and see it as God sees it, that brings harmony to all things and heals all things. Again, that's another way of saying just hold it in neutral, loving awareness. Let it be what it is. Another thing you can do is to, and this is kind of a totally different tactic. So instead of focusing directly on whatever is coming up, it's valuable to spend time acknowledging it and focusing on it and loving it, holding in the light, holding it in the light, feeling it, letting it come up, let it move through. But you can also redirect your attention, right? You can just notice how much more is going on at any given time. Like as this day two is happening, as stuff is coming up, just notice how much more is going on in reality. You can just notice that, wow, there's what I wrote is an entire multiverse of infinite dimensionality is bursting spontaneously into existence in each nanosecond. And I'm sitting here only focusing on a few stories about one ape on planet Earth. Um, so you can kind of get humor. You can get humorous about it for one. You can, you don't want to. You're not laughing. You're not like being mean to yourself in this way. But you can just chuckle at yourself, kind of zoom out, take that zoomed out perspective, and realize like, wow, like this whole strange naked reality is just like bursting into existence in every direction, and it's just completely doing itself here. And here I am over here, like with my microscope focused on an extremely narrow range of what's happening, right? I'm just like really zeroed in. I'm really zoomed in on these like loops about like, does the human ape named Jordan have to do it all himself? Will he have enough money to do it? And it's just like, what? Why am I even? What is that? So then you can like that can be an opening to then come back into your expanded self too. Because if you're able to find those openings to come back into an expanded higher frequency state, then that can very quickly transmute whatever it is. Because then more of these higher frequency energies can flow into your sphere and can just bring you a level of clarity about the situation that you couldn't access from that lower frequency state that you're in. So yeah, you can also go to the radiance, the astonishingness, the already beyondness, the rawness of uninterpreted experience. So this is kind of like what I talked about at the beginning. So I talked kind of about the astonishingness, again, going to like, how is this happening? What is this made of? Like, you can even do weird stuff like this with your hands and be like, what even is this? What is going on? And you just go to the astonishingness. Yeah, there you go, Brady. Exactly. Like, how's the body doing that? Go to the astonishingness. Go to the radiance. You go to the radiance by just like looking really closely at anything. Like say, look at your hand or look at a blank piece of sky or like a blank piece of wall, and just realize how vividly whatever that is just crystallizing in experience right now, just rendering in perfect HD clarity in the light of awareness and entirely made of the light of awareness. There's just whatever this texture is. You just go to the raw uninterpreted texture of it and realize it's like an indefinable radiance just like dancing forth in your entire experience. That's another powerful potential opening. And the already beyondness, like the already transcendent nature, this is similar to the radiance. Like if you can notice your experience as a continuum of indefinable textures, not just the visual field too, but like sounds and smells and tastes. There's just this, and all these like subtle vibes and subtle energies. There's so much constantly going on, and it's so far beyond anything you could actually say. It's so far beyond definition. It's just like utterly incredible. So if you go to that already beyondness, then you can see that reality is already far beyond what your story is actually holding it to be. So the story you're telling yourself about what's going on with yourself is not actually accurate. There's like actually an infinity of dimensionality bursting forth and being exactly what it is, and it can't be said. So if you can just go to that, yeah, and again, the rawness, which I also wrote, is just similar again, just going to the raw, uninterpreted experience. So again, yeah, go to the radiance, the astonishingness, the already beyondness, the rawness. If you can connect to that, if you can find that opening to that, then yeah, suddenly, that's when you can just have like a flash of lightning, like clarity, or like just like quantum shift can drop in, and you can just suddenly be back in like, oh yeah, wow, everything's completely just like made of light, and it's all perfect. And that can bring massive clarity to whatever your situation is. Another point is to just see it as another thing God is doing, like wind or like bird song. Whatever emotions are arising, whatever process is arising in you, it's just another thing that the entire field of awareness is spontaneously doing. So you can actually like you can tune into the level or the sense of like you're not even doing it, it's just being done, you're being lived, it's happening through you. Because I mean, you can try to stop doing things, you can try to stop being a process, and notice that you can't do that. It's just something is gonna keep happening. It's just the process is doing itself. So in that sense, you can just see it as like, oh, it's just another thing that's happening in the field of experience, like the wind or like the song of a bird. um I touched on this a bit already, but notice you don't even know what it is. Let go of needing a coherent story that makes sense of it. Just see it as mysterious energies are moving. So again, if you get too lost in like, oh geez, this is a very significant thing that must say very significant things about my very significant person character here, then it's just getting really serious and really contracted. But you can open it up by realizing you don't even know what's going on. It's just like mysterious energies are moving through, as they always are. And so you can just see it as more mysterious energies moving through. um I just touched on this one. I think notice the process is doing itself. You can't stop it even if you want to. It's taking care of itself like everything else. This is not a like bad or sad thing. I would say that everything is just doing itself, or you're being lived. Like, tune into the freedom of that. Like wow, God is just doing everything. Everything is just doing itself, taking care of itself. I don't even really have to do anything here. These energies are going to move through one way or another. They're just moving. That's just what energies do. And also don't fixate on that and be like, oh my God, everything is deterministic, I have no free will. Don't make like a philosophical position out of it. Because to me, I would say, you know, do we have free will or not? It's both, it's neither, and it's far beyond either. So it's just there's no need to fixate on that. Just, but it's liberating to tune into the level where you're not doing any of it. You can actually just kind of put your hands up on the roller coaster for a while at times and just be like, I surrender, live me. And then realize that that's already happened. Like that's already happening. Life is just taking care of itself. You're being lived. Everything is just effortlessly doing itself. So that's a good level to tune into. I wrote, don't make a new personal identity out of it and enter into a never-ending healing loop. So, I mean, you can do this if you want to, but I recommend not doing this, especially if you want to take kind of the direct path to the new earth. So this is what a lot of people do when they start to get into kind of a self-healing process. They turn it into like a new identity of like, oh, I'm the person in a healing process. And then they actually just get in this kind of healing loop where they continuously, for years on end, all they do is like, I'm in my healing process, I just need to go to the next ceremony or do the next trauma healing or the next primal therapy or the next modality. I need to heal the next layer. And they actually use this as a subtle self-sabotage mechanism of being like, yeah, I'll go toward my joy, I'll live the life of my dreams after I'm done with my healing process. And so, and obviously, that's what needs to happen for them at any given, if that's what they're going through. And that's beautiful in its own way. But I can generally recommend, if you want to go directly toward your highest excitement, then that's not the way to go. You want to just keep moving toward your highest excitement, and just know that moving toward your highest excitement is going to bring up all your stuff. Once again, like, as you move, if you move directly toward your highest excitement, your stuff is going to come up So you don't even need to go into a deliberate healing process for 5 years. You can just know that it's going to come up as you go toward your highest excitement, and then you just work with it as it comes up. Yeah, I wrote again this crucial point just to reiterate once again, just love it, whatever it is, let it be what it is, hold it in the light of neutral loving awareness, realize you're already doing this. Everything is made of neutral loving awareness. If it appears, it is already accepted, already allowed, already seen as perfection. Tune into the level of your being that is pure loving spaciousness and loved it the moment that it appeared. And then yeah, so just to drop that reminder in again, because it's something that really can't be said too many times. And then the last thing I've written here on a more like pragmatic note, other things that can kind of help you shift back into a higher frequency state, which can really like shift the thing or allow the thing to be transmuted more rapidly, is just things like getting in nature for extended periods of time, doing a fast for like 24 48 hours, like a juice fast or water fast, doing some kind of movement, some kind of physical embodiment stuff, yoga or qigong or intense cardio. Doing some form of breath work can be really powerful. Some form of cold exposure, cold shower, cold bath. Recently, I've really been enjoying, like, I'll take a hot bath and then I'll drain the water down, like, so that there's still a little hot water, and then I'll start the cold water. So it's not immediately like full on cold, but then I just lay in the warm water as it gradually becomes colder and colder. And then I just let that, and it's just kind of a more gradual introduction to the cold. And then the cold almost forces you to just be with the energy that's present. But I also just like direct my focus to just being with the energy. So it just takes you out of the head completely, and then you're just with the energy of the body, of the experiential field. It's a very unique texture to be immersed in cold, and feels like it does some very useful things for the body, for the nervous system, the immune system. I don't know what all it does, but I've really been enjoying that lately. So um so yeah, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Those are my my shares for today around how to hold space for yourself. That's my general framework, my general approach. I would love to hear any initially, let's start with if anyone has any questions that have arisen around how to hold space for yourself. I'd love to talk about that. Does anyone have any questions? Feel free to use the hand raise function. You can like, yeah, I'm not sure where the button is for you guys, but there's a button to raise your hand. You can also turn your video on and raise your hand if you can't find that. Brady, nice. Ask you to unmute here, bro.
Hey, yeah, I do have a question. It's not totally related, and so I just want to say that, and I want to keep space open for the more direct, specific, related questions. But I noticed nobody was raising their hand, so if anyone wants to raise their hand, I'm willing to stop because obviously it's like more directed. But are you open to my question, Jordan?
Yeah, of course.
Sharing an
Yeah.
experience that I
Yeah,
had?
go for it. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so it's related to holding space because I'm sure there are many coaches in here or people thinking to teach or share or get clients. And my mom has popped up in my field as a potential client, someone to support and help. And there was this experience of going through the process of like onboarding her and all this stuff you're talking about. Like I could see the things coming up for her. There was this inspiration to work with me a week and a half ago. Now we got on a call last night and she's like all this stuff is coming up to like potentially prevent her from stepping into that really new big shift of stepping into empowering her health. And dude, honestly, I thought we were going to work together. I was pretty like positive and attached to that. And I think I still want to support her. But I noticed this morning how there's this residue of like disappointment. There's this residue of like letdown. And like last night I stayed up super late, like watching movies till like 4 a.m. I just noticed how I like totally went into, I haven't done that in a while. So I totally went into this kind of like really I identified in my pain body, identified with like old patterns. And in the shower this morning, I was like, I know that this workshop today or this call today with y'all is going to speak to something. It's so beautiful and amazing that like it's literally giving me all the medicine I need. And I kind of already knew how to approach that this morning, but this has just been so beautiful, man. There's so much amazing stuff here. You're so beautiful, Jordan. Thank you. Thank you for the work that you do and the effort that you put into life, bro. Yeah, I just wanted to share that because I'm sure other coaches might go through that. And it's just this really beautiful process of learning how to like, I'm realizing I just want to serve her. Truly. I do. I ultimately just want to help and support her. And I can still do that, whether like there's this idea of labeling her as a client or not. So yeah, it's really beautiful. And if there are coaches that want to connect more, feel free to reach out and we can explore this on another level. Thanks for letting me share, Jordan.
Totally. Yeah. Thanks for sharing, brother. Thanks for airing that. Yeah. Yeah, interesting to ask like what's the medicine for you, or what's the gift, or why did you create that? And yeah. Yeah. Anyone else have any questions, or else just open the room for general shares? If anyone would like to share anything they're going through, any sort of whatever's on your heart, whatever you're holding space for within yourself, if you'd like to share, just um, to be witnessed by all of us and to just clear something, or you can also request a reflection if you'd like. Open the space for that. Sue Ellen, nice.
Hey, hi everyone. Hello, guys. Nice to see you all here again. Jordan, thank you so much for having us here once again. I feel every time I'm among us people, like all of us here, my heart gets, I don't know, just it pounds so rapidly, and I feel like it's the energy that we all bring being here together. And this is amazing. It's nice to see new faces here as well. And from what you shared, Jordan, I think it's beautiful, like you said, being vulnerable and opening up, you know, to what is happening in our lives right now. And I believe we are all here to support each other. And I totally get where you are at the moment, because I've been through some sort of similar situation where I had to move country. It was something almost unexpected for me. I had to just move. I was in the UK and now I'm here in Brazil. And it is something totally different from everything. Although I'm from Brazil originally, I've been in the UK for 15 years, so it was pretty hard, the transition, and I have to now adapt. And what I'm stepping into is my the resistance to change that we all have and we all go through at some point in life. And I believe that this is just to make us grow, right? It's just to keep us expanding and going beyond our own limitations. And it was beautiful to hear you saying to literally just get that zoom, and don't zoom into things that are unnecessary, or focus on what is not real just yet, or focus in something that it's not good for you at the moment. You do have to focus in something that is going to help you through the situation, right? And what helps is also stepping back a little bit and seeing things from a different perspective. And also your explanation about day one, day two, this is, it happens to me a lot, and I believe it happens to all of us here, is one day, everything is bright and light, and wow, I'm shining, and oh, look, everything around me, it's so beautiful, and I can do this and I can do that, and then suddenly we're just getting to that mode again of day two, and triggers are coming in, and there is a lot, just trying to interfere with that beautiful energy that you had the day before. And again, it's just another challenge. It's there to make us grow, and it is all about how we transmute these energies that comes, and how we can change and tap into a higher level of ourselves, step into our higher selves. So Jordan, I wish you the best of luck there, and don't doubt yourself even for a minute, because you opened yourself for the change, for something new. You didn't resist to it, and so just go with the flow. And yeah, I think we should all go with the flow as much as possible, and trust the universe, and trust God, and keep vibrating as high as we can at all times, because that changes everything. It changes ourselves, and it can change everyone around us as well. So thank you, guys.
Thank you, Sue Ellen. Beautiful words. Thank you so much. Beautiful sharing. Eliana?
Suelen, querida, eu sou brasileira também, mas eu moro em UK, so I appreciate what you're saying. So, Jordan, thank you so much once again for holding the space that you are holding, and in the process empowering us to reminding us to hold space for ourselves as well. In my practice as a counselor, I remember going through a process of being my own supervisor as well, reaching into that space. I just wanted to say thank you, really. And the existential kinkiness was really interesting, something I hadn't heard before. So that was quite interesting. And the other thing I'd like to appreciate and acknowledge you for is this encouragement for us to step into the divine neutrality, because it's in the divine neutrality that we find the posture and the composure to be able to just like be, without attaching to what we want and without judging what we don't want. It's just like, is that it's something that I'm working towards as well, and it's it's work in progress. So thank you.
Thank you. Beautiful words, Eliana. Much love. I'm glad you like the existential kink piece. Yeah, I find that really interesting concept, and yeah, it's also cool to remember that even the work in progress, even like the day twos, even when all this stuff is coming up, just to realize that that's something that God is doing, that perfect intelligence is doing. So it's just like yeah, sometimes Peter Brown will say things like, there is no enlightenment is a myth, because reality is already enlightenment, or nothing occurs other than perfect enlightened activity. So that's another interesting thing we can remember that I didn't touch upon, but just like that, the great perfection is not just when we're having the day one experience or the day three experience and it's all clear and it's all blissful. It's just like the poem would not be nearly as rich without the day twos and stuff. And so yeah, this is just what's coming up in relation to what you shared. Not sharing this with you, just sharing it generally for everyone. But yeah, it's just seeing it at how the poem of this human life is enriched by all the day two stuff and all the pain and the struggle. So yeah, beautiful. Thank you again, Eliana. Much love. Artie, ask you to unmute here.
Hey,
Hello.
I just want to share that I'm so glad to be here. I joined really last minute. And throughout the whole time, I was just moving my hands, and then you said, it's okay to move your hands in weird ways. So I was really feeling what you were saying and relating to a lot of it. I also just moved home. I think today is day 3 of living here in the new space and still getting used to it. Went through a lot of day 2 moments in the last few months, but I think my ability to be resilient and to stay in my center has really improved, and I'm so happy to hear that we're all in this together. And I don't know if you can see, but on my door there's this artwork. It's that of a unicellular organism, right? Like a hydra. It's the word that we're using in my friend circle right now, where we can feel that we're all one, and like we're just like tentacles of the hydra. And yeah, so I could really feel that while he was speaking. And about when you say that, we hold space for our own day too. And I like to believe that, we're all getting better at it, and we get, there is always going to be chaos. But, like the impact it has relationally, because, no matter what happens, like this is going to happen to us, but there is going to be detours and changes. And yeah, and it just reminded me that these detours don't mean that it's not going to happen. It's just going to happen in a different way. And it's brought a lot of ease and faith in all the changes and the grace that ties it all together. So yeah, I'm just really very, very happy to be here and had many moments of things clicking in my head. And also a lot of physical release in my body, so much physical release in my body while listening. Yeah, it was really powerful. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. Beautiful to see and feel you here with us. Thank you for being here. Tammy, let me unmute you.
Hi everybody. Hello from Canada. I'm from Mexico. Jordan, even though my name is Tammy, I'm in the chat as Thea, and I just wanted to thank you because you sent me some beautiful words. One day there was a really double 2 day. it was pretty harsh winter, especially as you said, as we said, especially when you have lived like amazing days with everything. So everything is just like excitement, and you feel the ecstasy of just breathing and knowing that everything, all this energy is going through your life. And like, how can I not love myself if I'm this amazing miracle, right? It's like, what? And then boom, one day, like, where's that? Like, I was happy, I was feeling different, and now why am I so down? Why I don't care about anything? So yeah, this I know that I needed to stay here to listen to all these amazing. I just wanted to share that after those days, I I I went to a Campbell session, and it was amazing in the sense that I felt so much pain, but that pain, it was so good that I cannot even begin to explain it. I was just sweating, and it was hurting. My whole skin was like burning, and I was smiling. The facilitator was like, "Are you okay? Do you need more points? Like, what's going on? Like, we're not supposed to, like, usually people around me were struggling. I mean, I was struggling too, but also I was feeling, wow, I'm alive. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I was excited for. This is just a different way to see life and experience it. The pain, I was like so thankful of feeling that pain. I think that was the biggest lesson, right? Thinking, oh, okay, yes, it hurts so much, but it's gonna end at some point. I know that it's gonna end. So I'm already excited. Like, at some point I was excited even to think, okay, whenever it has to end, then I just have to move on with my life. And of course that made me think about other pains, other type of pains, like all that suffering that we have in our hearts, or worries. The worry that I've been struggling the most lately is not being free, right? Like, Canada is, well, the whole world is struggling, but Canada is being like pretty harsh lately with mandates and stuff. And I cannot move physically, but I can move with my inside, like the universe that's inside of me. It's bigger as above as below, right? And knowing that, I can connect with you guys. They won't take, nobody can take away my freedom. Nobody can take away that that excitement. Nobody can take away who I am. I'm gonna share myself just as you're doing, and everybody here is doing. I love that everybody here, each one of you that it's here, amazing. Thank you so much. You're like, you're amazing. I love you all. Thank you for allowing yourselves to be here, to allowing me to share, to connect, to integrate, to be one today here, because it's day over here. But yeah, I loved it. I hope that everybody has an amazing week, an amazing life, and we'll see each other again. Thank you so much. Tlazokamati Ometeo.
Thank you so much, Tammy. Much appreciated. Much love to you. Beautiful sharing. And yeah, we're always already free. We're made of freedom. Freedom is what we are. So it can't be, that level of freedom, yeah, can never be taken. Can never be taken from us. So yeah. Beautiful. Thank you. I'm conscious of time here, so we've got we'll pass it over to James and Trevor here. But if you guys want to keep it precise, that'd be great.
Okay, I think I'm unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you again for holding this space and all the insights you've shared. And it made me remember like 30 years ago, I was in grad school for wellness and health promotion and behavior change, basically. That was the degree. There was a behavior change model for human behavior. And one of the facets was awareness leads to control. So when you're aware of things that are going on, with more clarity, you can hold space for yourself, because the only thing you can really control is yourself. So they have a model. It's a vertical axis like an L. The vertical axis is time. I'm sorry. Time is on the horizontal, and the goal is out here, and you're starting at the 90-degree angle. So you're starting on this, let's say you have your day one, and you just catapulted up here, kind of like a measurement of, on a cardiogram, and it's jagged, and it's going up towards your goal. But the jagged drops on the day twos, and it's normal, expected for human behavior to have these, what they call setbacks. But when you drop down, you're still on progress, like higher than when you started, even though it feels like you're in a hole where you drop down. And then you go up again and down, up again, and you're always progressing towards that goal. When you see it in a visual that, hey, I'm that much higher on the progress chart over time, you realize, wow, I'm really doing really good. And it helps you hold space for yourself and apply all the principles and all the things that you shared here, to that. The body only wants to get to a place of homeostasis. It's natural. So when we get out of our own way through meditation, self-hypnosis, quieting the mind, connecting with the heart, connecting with the soul, that allows for homeostasis to come in quicker, knowing that you're on track always, no matter if you have a setback or a slip. Just had to share that. It was just it's a powerful visual and realization to help you keep moving forward, get out of that hole. Thank you. If that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Thank you. Much love. And it reminds me also of the upward spiraling path, the image of like an upward spiral where it's like you go through cycles and you circle back around to kind of familiar territory again and again, but it's like you're seeing it from a more expanded perspective each time. You're seeing it with new eyes each time you cycle back around. And so you see more deeply into it, you transmute it more deeply, and you gradually keep spiraling upward. So similar notion. Yeah. Thank you.
Yo.
Trevor. I'm at 8% battery, bro. Charges in the other room.
Okay.
What you got for us?
I'm gonna keep it short. Sorry if it's a little noisy. I'm walking around outside in Chicago, heading to my day job. But thank you, Jordan, for that, and everyone else's shares. I just really felt called to share that. Jonathan McCall says, like, where your focus, where your attention goes, energy flows. But just this past weekend, there's like another layer to it where it's not just where your attention goes, energy flows. It's that your attention is energy. Consciousness is energy. So it's like it's a whole nother meta layer. And it's really fun. Like, just been looking at like everything. And if you just focus, like what Peter Brown was saying, the yoga radiant presence, dude, you can just taste like everything if you open yourself to it. Like you look at like a piece of dirt and you just like get lost in the sauce with like just a little speck. Yeah, that's all I really wanted to share. Just for people to try that out, because yeah, it's crazy when you go deeper.
Beautiful sharing, bro. There's some loud noise. I'm gonna have to mute you because there's loud noises. Yeah, there's some. I think Adi Da talks about this too, like some kind of like, I can't remember what he calls it, like this like feeling taste where you can just feel into any being or object and kind of receive the transmission of that. object at an increasingly like profound, just like full body, full system level, like just tasting all the different flavors of this smorgasbord of experience. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Alex, you want to drop something in, brother? We're over time, so yeah, just
yeah. I just felt inspired to share once we were called onto the experience of taste and taste of experience, because for the past week or so, recovering from COVID slowly, I find myself pretty much tasteless and not being able to enjoy the textures and fine minutiae of all of the pleasant spices of life. It kind of it kind of reminds me that we always keep spiraling up and down, and that even the most bland experience of life is there for a reason, just to offer that contrast. Once the taste buds kind of recover, you're able to enjoy the pleasant textures of a very nice, well-made, home-prepared hummus or any other dish that might leave a sort of a juicy taste in one's mouth. Yeah, so I felt inspired to share this, as I'm slowly rebuilding my life after 2 weeks of sameness, not really clearly delineating one day from another. So yeah, it's nice to be back in the digital as well as the physical spaces of life. And yeah, thank you for holding this container.
Thank you, brother. Well said. Yeah, contrast creates appreciation. Beautiful. Thank you so much, everyone. It's been lovely to connect with you today in this way. I'm gonna allow participants to unmute themselves. Feel free to unmute and say goodbye or send some love to everybody here. Let's get a love explosion going to end things off.
Thank you, guys.
Peace and love, everyone.
Thank you.
Love
Love you.
Bye.
Thank you. Where's that gingerbread man?
Much love, everybody.
Thank you.
Love to